Did we just do experiments? You see how much help we're giving you with your research? So we are looking at a time interval, and we were doing with an intervention, with AI, and without AI. Does that make sense? Okay, we can go back to sharing the slides now. And not necessarily sharing, the camera doesn't have to share the screen anymore. The camera can now, I guess, look at me and then, let's see here. So we have an example of how useful an experiment can be when you're looking at a time interval or a ratio or an integer. Those are things that you are counting, which is why it is quantitative research. We can also look at correlations. Maybe the AI was not the only thing influencing the speed. Maybe it was, am I male or female? Maybe it was, do I speak English as my first? That would be looking at more than one variable at a time. That would be looking at correlations. Now, it's very difficult to find cause. You don't see people saying, this causes that. Sometimes it's, gravity causes this to fall. That's causality. But if there was something more than gravity, like the power of me throwing something, I was a cricket player and I am sending, this causes that. For example, if I look at HPV, human papillomavirus, I notice it causes dysplasia on the cells of the cervix, which causes, eventually, if unchecked, cervical cancer. Does anybody know what the prevalence of cervical cancer is in Ghana? Does anyone know that it could be prevented or arrested in its development by having regular pap smears every 3 years after the age of 18? Or after the age when you become sexually active. Usually 18 to 21 is best. We don't do pap smears on teenagers, even if they are sexually active, because their cells are changing so much, they often get rid of the HP virus. Not everybody. HIV infection makes your immune system more vulnerable, so there are some changes. But there are things that have causation in healthcare. There are things that have causation in IT. We know that, there are electrical potentials in a battery, and that battery will cause a current. We know that with physics, and we can apply that to electronics. So, depending on computer science, communications, there are many different kinds of experiments. For those who are teaching, did you know that you could use a teaching method? For example, Ms. Esmeralda, who is over communications and the radio station, the radio studio at Accra, she invites nursing students, midwives, to come and work with the communication students who know everything about recording and mixing all of the volume and the cameras. And she helps them to create podcasts by bringing the two groups together. We are planning to publish a paper to describe the teaching methodology of interprofessional learning, where nursing, communication, midwifery students learn from each other. The communication students don't know what nurses and midwives do, so they have to learn from the nursing students. Nursing and midwifery students don't know how to make a podcast. All of this stuff for a radio show, so they learn from the communication students. That's called interprofessional education. Learning with, from, and about each other. Peer-reviewed journal. That's going to elevate the profile of this university. and allow us to be accredited as a research producing, a publishing university where the professors publish at least one journal article every year. Can you publish about how you teach? Yes. Could you do a research study to see if these students here use this tool to help them learn, and these students here do not, and look at the difference in outcome? Is that a publishable research project? Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm using an AI tool that I got the assistance of a software engineer developer to build. It works on our smartphones. It helps my midwifery students, especially those who find it difficult to make their head move in systematic linear thinking. It's difficult for them to be a deductive reasoning person or an inductive reasoning person, where you're picking up symptoms, signs, history, you're doing observations, and you come up with a diagnosis. That's inductive reasoning, the scientific method, right? Some of my students can't do it. They didn't learn that when they were children. I was teaching my 18-month-old friend's granddaughter how to do that. But not everybody has the privilege to do that at 2 years old or 10 years old. So to teach them, we're using this app. We're using it. You know, if you are in the Olympics and you have to run the 100-meter dash, you're a sprinter, like Usain Bolt. Who is the Ghanaian sprinter? Does anyone know? Who is representing you in the Olympics? Azama? Okay, so how many seconds must you run, like how fast must you run 100 meters to qualify for the Olympics? If you're a female, I think it's 11 seconds to qualify. If you're a man, I think it's around 9 seconds to qualify. There is a bar, there's a benchmark. If you run in 12 seconds, you don't get to run in the Olympics, right? And the fastest person wins the gold medal. Is that fair? It's fair. It's fair. You run, you get the gold medal. If I come to you and I say, I don't know how to save the life of your baby. I know I was trying very hard, but I forget everything they told me in class. I forget what I read in the book. Do I get to be a midwife? No. No gold medal. I don't get to play in the Olympics. Is that fair? Yes. Is it fair if Azaz goes and he runs 15 seconds? It was a bad day. 15 seconds. Does he get to run in the Olympics? No. Is it fair? Yes. So that's what my project is. I am creating an IT tool, working with my colleagues in IT, because that's not my specialty. I know about delivering babies. I know about professionalism, advocacy. I know about ethical decision making. I know about communication, but I don't know about IT. So they helped me to create that. We are testing it this year. We're doing the validation. You know, scales and tools should be validated. Face validity, validity. We have to be measuring the right thing the right way. The words that we use in the questions, the drop down, we are testing all of that. Who wants to help me? Faculty here wants to help me. Do you want to publish with me? Do you want to try this tool in Ghana? Okay, come and see me later. I need your business. I need us to connect. Please join us in the online Zoom that we will have as often as you want to. You've already received it when you got that QR paper that says resources. There's a link there to send you to a Google form to say, yes, I want to meet in this collaboration, online, on Zoom, every once a month, every 6 months. This is the thing I'm interested in. This is the issue. This is the type of research. And then we'll try to make it happen. Myself, my colleagues at University of Florida are also interested. Lorna Owens, who is the founder of Footprints organization, the NGO that I volunteer with, She's trying to get as many people as possible to collaborate with you as faculty, as graduate students, so that we can achieve that mission that Dr. Finn has for this university, to be accredited as a research-generating university. Everybody will rise together. Nobody will be left behind. Okay, so I'm not going to belabor this. Some of it you know. We have some resources, videos to review this, because some of us, our midwifery minds find statistics difficult. I'm not going to go through it in great detail. Next slide. I'm just going to go to that. How do you decide to sample to determine who should be in this study? I could do a convenience study, as I did for midwives in Jamaica. I went to a conference where all of the midwives in Jamaica and nurses were invited who were involved in delivering babies and maternity newborn care. It was a convenience sample. I just got 30 people who were in the room and who came at lunchtime or after lunch, or we met on the phone, or we met on Zoom. Convenience sampling. For the other study that just completed not too long ago, it was a historical study of the history of black midwives who practiced in Canada between 1800 and 1960. They were immigrants who came to build Canada from the Caribbean, or they were escaped, enslaved refugees who came for asylum from the United States. Because before 1834 in Canada, slavery existed, and
a committee for human practice and research, something like CHRP. Yes.
Thank you very much. So it looks as though that university has the resources and the capacity, and maybe has a large number of professors who have produced research themselves, and so they are qualified to review your application. Maybe they're engineers. So when you write your proposal and your protocol with the procedures and the methods, you're going to have to try not to use jargon. If you use a word, put in brackets what the word means. So for me to say hypertension, they might know what that means. But if I say multiparous woman, I'll have to put in brackets women who are on a pregnancy that is, greater than one pregnancy in the past. Pregnancy. Because they're not midwives, they don't know what that means. Or if I'm talking about it was the same. So overall, everybody saw at least one teenage mother every week. So that's why they were caring for teens. Looked at all of the transcripts, and I looked at themes. What were the perceived roles of the midwife? They said